Hello again, everyone. This is Michinatsu. I didn't film for 3 or 4 weeks by now because I was in Japan, guys. I miss Japan a lot already. Well, I didn't bring a camera with me this time because I wanted to be present in every single moment. So, unfortunately, I do not have any vlogs to share with you guys. However, hopefully, I can go back to Japan soon so I can show you bits and bobs of my hometown. Let's see what happens. Anyhow, as the title says so, I didn't visit Japan for like 5 years, actually 5.5 years, which is such a long time, crazy long time. And I thought it would be just fun to talk about it, you know, what I have found and how I felt in Japan. Disclaimer, or more like apology in advance. If you are expecting me to say something like, oh, Japan, you know, Japan has changed, or Japanese people are like this and that, I've been in Australia for a long time, so I don't want to sound like, you know, now I'm used to living overseas, so, you know, Japan doesn't feel like home, and Japanese people, I don't belong there, you know, it's really lame. So I'm not gonna talk something like that, but because again 5 years is such a long time, I wanted to share my thoughts or what I found during this trip. I'm aware that many of you guys are interested in, you know, different culture or moving overseas and stuff, not only English. So I just wanted to discuss something with you guys. So I'm going to talk about it a bit later. So stay tuned until the end of this video. As always, if you have got any questions, comments, please let me know. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, you're more than welcome to as well. Let's get right into it. First things first, I have to talk about this first. As soon as I got to Tokyo, girls, Japanese girls, you guys are stunning as heck. I'm a Japanese girl, but you guys look fabulous. Like your skin and hair and fashion, I do appreciate it. You know, because I grew up in Japan, I know that is a strong, or like I would say very specific beauty standard. We have to be skinny, we have to be feminine and stuff. And I do understand, you know, some of you guys might be struggling with it, but what I appreciate is the motivation to look after yourself and try to be better and try to enjoy beauty in your own way. It's not like how you look actually, but I can feel the passion or even like great vibes in beauty culture. And I was like, wow. I really have to look after myself too, girls. Hashtag inspo. Anyhow, let's put the joke aside. Well, it's not really a joke, but I was away from Japan for such a long time. And to be honest, I don't think Japan has changed that much. Well, of course, there was pandemic, so many things have changed. But what I felt was like, honestly, I felt like I have changed, and I think it's completely natural because again 5 years is such a long time, new experiences and all that, so I must have changed. So what I'm saying is I felt some changes in me when I was in Japan, especially, you know, Japan is a place that I spent like 20 years. Let's go back to Tokyo. So I have to take Tohoku Shinkansen. I went to Tokyo Station and I found a convenience store. You know, Japanese konbini, best. And I hopped in one of the convenience stores in Tokyo Station and I was like, oh my goodness, that's what I came for. And I got so excited and I was like, okay, I want to buy snacks, I want to get drinks and stuff. And then funny thing happened. In the end, what I got was only 2 rice balls, which I could eat anytime in this house. I've got 1 bottle of sparkling water, which I can drink anytime in this house. Why did I do that? It's actually because I was so overwhelmed with so many options. Probably I talked about this in my old videos, probably in my old channel. Since I moved to Australia, one thing that I found was shopping culture. When it comes to stuff, Japan has much more stuff in general. It can be food, clothes, cosmetics and stuff. When I just came here, I was like, oh, for example, if I go to chemist, I want to get some cosmetics, or skincare products. But you don't really see like limited editions or seasonal or I don't know, like a new formula or something like that. It's always the same. I mean, pretty much, not always, but you know what I mean. In Japan, when it comes to snacks, for example, new flavors, seasonal, regional, I was sort of like used to that shopping culture. And since I moved here, I slowly started getting used to the slow shopping culture, if that makes sense. So first I was like, oh, it's a bit, boring. Like I don't really want stuff, or I would say I don't have many options when it comes to like, cosmetics and stuff. I think I got to know like what I actually need. Sometimes I don't have to buy stuff. So of course I'm not saying like, Japan is bad because there's so much stuff out there, but I lived with a one suitcase kind of situation for a long time. I think I got to know what I really need and I can do without stuff. And also buying stuff doesn't make me really happy. As long as I've got enough stuff, it should be okay, and they will do, That actually surprised me when I got to Japan, and I was actually looking forward to buying a bunch of cosmetics in Japan. In the end, I didn't buy a lot of stuff because when I went to the store, I was like, well, there's so many options which are good, and that was actually something like I sort of dreamed of, but right now what I need is only this and that. So it's a change in me, definitely, but I think it's a positive change relationship with stuff. I didn't actually expect that that's something like I would have learned by living overseas. I mean, being away from Japan. That kind of change wouldn't have happened if I had stayed in Japan my whole life or only in Australia, because I got to know two countries, and shopping is probably not a big deal, but this is, I don't know, something I have learned and I wanted to share with you guys. All right, so that's the first thing. And the second thing is, obviously I went to my hometown. I mean, I stayed in my parents' house where I grew up. My room is upstairs and I just looked at it. It was nostalgic. So much. I found some notebooks that I made when I was much younger. One of them was like my vocabulary book, or English, obviously. And when I read that, I felt a young me, being so passionate. And even though I didn't know where to go in the future, I was studying English, but I didn't have any like specific dream, I want to be a translator or I want to work in this company and that. But I loved English like I do now. But I felt like a different kind of passion from that notebook. Now, I'm in a position where I tell you guys, hey, it works, it doesn't work, you should do this to improve your English and stuff. But when I saw that notebook, you might not be doing the best, I would say the most effective, studying method. I think that struggle is part of the learning journey, if that makes sense. The internet was not as handy as it is right now, but I believed in myself. I did what I could. I mean, I did my best. At that time, young me gave me so much energy, and it pushed me to work harder even now. Sometimes getting to know your young yourself, sometimes it reminds you something important. Ignorance is a bliss, but sometimes it can be like a fuel. Another thing is, because I didn't use my room for such a long time, my dog Korotan, such a cutie, he apparently found that room comfortable. My room is his pee room. I found some sheets. Apparently he likes to go upstairs and does his business. I'm glad that he found his safe space. So my room is a happy place, isn't it? That's my sort of memory, or I don't know what to call it. I want to move on to something different. I actually wanted to talk about it for a while, but I didn't know which video is kind of suitable. You guys are interested in, English, improving your English skills, but I don't think you guys want to just improve your English. You guys are interested in, different culture or moving overseas or making new friends. At the beginning of this video, I said like, hey, if you're expecting me to say something like, oh, Japanese people are like this and that, in 5 years, there is so much change. Japanese people are so annoying because they're like blah, 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 something like that. Culture talk or whatever. I think it's quite popular. And I'm not against the culture or anything. I think most of you guys are Japanese, and we know pros and cons of like living in Japan. And we kind of understand the nature of us, Japanese people, right? But especially on social media, because I'm in the position where I share my say. So I'm not a huge fan of the idea of like telling something like, oh, in this country, people are like this and that, the culture is this and that. Of course, there is, something different. There are some sort of like a trends or vibes, obviously culture and history as well. We need to be aware that we see this world with our own glasses, I would say, or even filter. So especially when we talk about people in a specific area, sometimes we think like, oh, people in the area, they're like this and that, oh, Japanese people are like this and Aussie people are like this, and I actually have an experience like there was someone, they like to say things like, oh, Australian people don't work at all, they're lazy. But at my work, I know quite a few people who are so hardworking. They're such a hard worker, and I get so impressed every time. I think once you think like, for example, oh, Japanese people are like this, for example, Japanese people are so nice, you put the filter. It's a good filter. Then you, every time you meet someone in Japan, you go like, oh my god, Japanese people are so nice. And then if you by any chance meet someone who is mean to you, you just go like, oh, I was probably just unlucky. But actually what's happening is, it's not like Japanese people are nice or mean or anything. Sometimes we see the world is there as it is, but because of our glasses, filter, whatever. I think the change is always like in us, if that makes sense. I used to think like, oh, Japan is the best and stuff, but then after I got used to living here, I was like, oh, Australia is much better, people are like, people are more like laid back and stuff. But then I think the things are always there, whether great or terrible, but it's all about how we see the world, if that makes sense. Yeah, so when I decided to make this video, I wanted to tell you guys because, you're kind of interested in moving overseas or making new friends and stuff. And I hope it makes sense, but sometimes people, places, culture and stuff, they're all they're just there. They exist as the way they are. But sometimes, depending on our perspective, we see things differently and then we say whatever we want to say. In the end, it's more like how we see the world. I hope it made sense. Thank you for watching this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you've got any questions, comments, please let me know. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, you're more than welcome to as well. Join in the team. All right, see you in the next video, guys.